Did Livepeer just go public? Grayscale just announced a Livepeer OTC market fund that is now public to investors around the world, including institutions and people with savings. So in today's video, we're going to be going through the article that Grayscale just put out. We'll be going through it together, explaining what they've done with Livepeer. And then on the later part of this video, we're going to go through the price metrics, little price action, and overall metrics in the Livepeer network to see how we're doing and see where the growth is and these kinds of things. So stick with me as we go through this together. So I'll put me down at the bottom right here, and yeah, let's go through it. So Grayscale, here's the tweet, just announced that they have 5 new investment products launched on an OTC market. So you can see they have Decentraland, Livepeer, Grayscale Filecoin Trust, Link, and Basic Attention Token, BAT. So if you click on the link, it brings us up to this Grayscale article. So 5 additional Grayscale products now trading on OTC markets. This was published May 16th, 2022. So let's read it together. Trading has commenced for the Grayscale BAT, Grayscale Chainlink, Grayscale Decentraland, Grayscale Filecoin, and Grayscale Livepeer Trust. Grayscale Investments, the world's largest digital asset manager, today announced that these ones, so this is BAT, again, Chainlink, Decentraland, and Livepeer Trust here, trading as GLIV, so I assume that's Grayscale Live, has begun trading on OTC markets. Grayscale now offers 14 digital currencies products trading on OTC markets. The trusts are investment vehicles that are intended to allow investors to gain exposure to the price movement of each of the trust's underlying asset. Specific digital currency, so investors can avoid the challenges of buying, storing, safekeeping assets directly. This is really cool because I think it allows institutions, people with 401ks, RRSPs, to basically get exposure to Livepeer without having to worry about owning it, hard wallet, these kinds of things, right? Some people like this, some people don't, but I think it's really important we understand that, like, you know, custodying Livepeer tokens is kind of a different ballgame than just wanting exposure to it. So I think this is like really good overall for Livepeer in general. So today's announcement reaffirms Grayscale's commitment to moving all of our digital currency investment products through our intended 4-phase product life cycle, with the intention of ultimately converting each into an ETF. So they want to make Livepeer have its own ETF, which is pretty awesome. We believe that the investors deserve access to the digital currency ecosystem through secure products and are excited to now offer them exposure to BAT, Link, Decentraland, Filecoin, Livepeer through publicly traded securities. So yeah, that's basically it. Livepeer is now basically a publicly traded securities. Now there's a bit of a caveat to it, and it'll be a little bit later down, but this is really interesting stuff. They talk a lot about where it came from, the secondary versus the private placements. Before they had only private placement memorandums to accredited investors since March of 2021. So this is going to be different. Then it goes through all this here, which is how much they represent in their earnings, the amount of shares outstanding. Shares created through the trust's respective private placements become eligible to sell into the public markets after a statutory 1-year holding period during Rule 144. So if you do have the private placement, you cannot just dump your coins onto the public market. There's a 1-year holding pattern, which I assume is basically regulation. Investors will be able to buy and sell freely tradable GBAT, GLink, Mana, Filecoin, and GLive shares through their investment accounts in the same manner they would using unregistered securities. The investment objective Investments for each of the shares based on the share price reflects the value of the digital asset held by the trust. It goes on to, now it gets a little lawyerly. You can tell that it kind of more of just talking about the reference rates and these kind of things. There's one, I did read through this already. There's one last thing I'll skip to, which is, the trusts are not registered with the SEC and are not subject to disclosure over certain requirements. So just, extra little risk there, making sure you stay safe. But the key to this, which I will try and find, they talk about more of their assets. We use the term ETF, now legal disclosures. Here we go. Where is it? Okay, here's an interesting part. The shares, because the trusts do not currently operate redemption programs. No, that's not it. Where is it? It basically talks about how the revenue, the income from the tokens being, there it is. This is important because if you own the Livepeer token, you get daily inflationary rewards as well as ETH mining rewards. Okay, so you get up to like 30% return on your investment when you own the token and you have it staked. In the Grayscale's thing, the trusts will not generate any income and regularly distribute their underlying asset to pay for their ongoing expenses. Therefore, the amount of assets represented by each respective share gradually decreases over time. I'm not too sure exactly what that means. I probably have to read into that a little bit. It's a bit wordy, but from what I'm reading, it's saying that you basically don't get the staking and transcoding fees that you get from staking your tokens. So, of course, Grayscale's in this to make some money. They are an investment company. So basically what they're saying is if you are invested with us, you get exposure to the rise and fall of the price, but the underlying revenue is going to be held by Grayscale as their fee, basically. Different protocols have different fee structures, like basic attention token. There is no staking, these kinds of things. So I'm not too sure. I feel like Livepeer, they might, maybe the reward stuff, like the minting of new tokens, they'll let that accumulate somehow. But based on this, the trusts will not generate any income, which is enough for me to say, if you're really bullish on Livepeer, make sure you buy your tokens, self-custody them on a hard wallet, and stake them. Find a good orchestrator. I made videos about this, which orchestrator to choose. High-performing ones, most commonly, are the best ones. You're actually contributing to the network by delegating to high-performing nodes. And then you get all the income. So, but if you have a 401k or an RRSP, Grayscale makes it super easy for you to get in, get out in a public market. Same with institutions and these kinds of things. So that wraps up the announcement from Grayscale. I find it very, very fascinating. We'll quickly jump into prices. So as of today, we're sitting at about $12.92 for price. You can see here it peaked around November, just like the public market, the S&P 500, just like the rest of the crypto market, and in fact, probably mostly correlated to something like Bitcoin, which doesn't surprise me because if Livepeer is institutionally bought, the institutions are really into Bitcoin, and so there's going to be like this correlation. Whereas other protocols that are not institutionally bought, name yours, they're probably at their all-time lows, and they probably peaked in May. So right in this bull run here, they probably peaked. This came from Bitcoin and the stock market. So the reason this probably happened is because of the stock market, and then we're down. So if you're bullish on the stock market or on the general macroeconomic state of the world, if you think that this is the bottom, then great time to buy. But if you still think there's slippage, I mean, there's lots of technical analysis you guys can do. But as of right now, it's actually holding quite strong comparatively to when the trust that Grayscale put out. This is right when the trust came out. So it's doing quite well since the trust came out. As you can see, volumes are pretty good. And we did have some wicks there, but otherwise, it's trending down, but that's a good time to buy. You want to buy low, right? A couple of metrics on the network itself. So there's a new Explorer, there's a new Livepeer Explorer. As you can see, the transcoding minutes has stabled off around 2.5 million minutes per week, which is super awesome. It was only in really April, May of 2021 that we ever reached over 1 million. All those metrics aren't here anymore. If you go back and watch my earlier videos, you'll see that it flattened off much earlier in the year. But as you can see now, we've actually leveled out. So if you've been here a long time watching the video, you'll know that these numbers are actually really high. And the fact that we're trending sideways for months and months and months on end means there's actually stable usage of the network. Our fees fluctuate, obviously. It also fluctuates with, people say, why do the fees fluctuate so much? Well, they do fluctuate with the price of ETH because ETH goes up and down in value. So this does decline or rise somewhat on the price of ETH. But overall, it should reflect the transcoding minutes. And then as you can see, participation rate hovers around 50%, drops off when these OTC markets were done. You can see that right here, 1 drop off, 2 drop off. These were institutional sellers. And what they ended up doing was, we speculate that they unstaked, sold over the OTC market. We're not sure if it was Grayscale specifically, but they sold into a new wallet address and then restaked, redelegated to a new orchestrator. So you can see these big drop-offs and then pump back up, right? So this was like a 7-day period where they unstaked, moved to a new wallet, restaked. Whether that wallet is in a new address or not, we're not sure. But anyway, it shows that they're not dumping coins on the public market, which would negatively affect the price for retail investors. So yeah, that's interesting. Just some interesting on-chain metrics for the whales. On the Web3 Index, I just love it. We're number 2, right under Aweave. Aweave is an awesome protocol, and they're killing it. But we're always way up there in fees compared to a lot of other networks. Like I love the graph. The graph is amazing, but their fees are like 1/20th the size of Livepeer right now, which is really interesting. So Livepeer has the fees coming in, and it's getting the growth, right? And then the last thing we'll cover is just like the Titan Node dashboard, where we can see live streams coming into Titan Node. You can see that we are a pool, so we're operating in 6 different sectors of the world, all the way from London to Singapore to New York, and our pool of transcoders are doing the transcoding work. And yeah, you can see that over the past, let's bring it back 7 days. We've been steady. We've been steady sideways with, you can see these are the days, peaks in the evenings that we're getting transcoding work, and then dropping off at nighttime. A lot of our transcoding work happens in North America and Europe, but I think for Titan Node, if you look over here, we're getting a lot of sessions out of Toronto. Toronto is actually one of our busiest spots, where our numbers are hitting 10, 15 streams comparatively to some of these other 5. So anyway, you can see that there's regular usage of the network, regular adoption, and now institutions are really bullish on Livepeer, and there's some very interesting stuff coming up. So I will end it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful. If you liked the video, please comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and we will see you next time. Cheers.